Welcome back to season 2 of the Katie Wellness Show. I am back with more amazing tools, awesome interviews, and some great discussions to help you optimize your health, body, mind, and spirit. Not only can you use these tools every day, you can also teach them to your children and to your family members so that you can raise emotionally and physically resilient children, so that you can show up more in your life, that you can take back your personal power. Get ready to tap into your intuition. I'm so excited that you're here. You are worthy of health and of joy and of thriving in your motherhood, thriving in your life. Thank you for being here today. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode. If you are someone who deals with fatigue often, if you have brain fog often, if you have unexplained health issues, frequent headaches, if you have premature gray hair, raise your hand. I'm raising mine right now. You're going to want to listen in to today's episode. We are talking about something that I get asked about often as a health educator and as someone who meets with clients one-on-one. We are talking about the MTHFR gene mutation. What is it? The MTHFR gene mutation affects the body's ability to process folate and homocysteine. These nutrients support a healthy heart and bones. They prevent dementia. They counteract cancer by strengthening your chromosomes. When someone has the MTHFR gene mutation, they are typically low in B5, B9, and B12. Cysteine and betaine could also be showing up as deficient. The MTHFR gene mutation does not only affect folate, but it also affects other B vitamins. In the hair scan analysis that I do, there are a couple of factors that will show up as indicating that there may be some issues. And while I am not necessarily a fan of testing just to have a diagnosis, I feel like the hair scan testing or analysis report gives you actual information that you can base your next steps on. It's not a diagnosis. You won't get a diagnosis from me based on your hair scan results, but there are indicators that can help you to feel better, to help you overcome the fatigue and the brain fog and the shortness of breath. Unfortunately, I don't know that the premature gray hair is going to be reversed, but some of these factors that we're going to talk about today can help you overcome a lot of these health challenges that come if you are someone who has the MTHFR gene mutation. If you are not wanting to test for it, you can do blood tests, you can do the hair analysis test that I offer, but there are physical markers that also can help you know if you have the mutation. Some of the physical markers for the gene mutation are back dimples, a sacral dimple, a tongue or lip tie when you were born, and a stork bite when you were born. So these are not necessarily gene mutations that we develop over time. It's with us since we are born. And it affects our health in a lot of ways, some that may seem connected and some that kind of can be a mystery. Deficiency symptoms include weakness, feeling shortness of breath, having pale skin, premature graying hair. Fatigue is very prominent, and there are a lot of things that can cause fatigue. So I don't want to say that this is the determining factor, but if you have brain fog or unexplained health issues, frequent headaches, you may want to consider trying some of these lifestyle, nutrition, and supplement swaps that I'm going to talk about today in this episode. So a question I get asked often is testing for this gene mutation necessary? And like I said earlier, in general, I'm not one who needs a bunch of testing for the sake of diagnosis or a label, unless that label is going to give me direction on how to care for my body more effectively. I don't want a diagnosis for the sake of a prescription. I haven't found those to be generally helpful in healing the root cause of the issue. If I suspect that I have a condition, I am someone who is much more likely to switch to living a lifestyle that would be supportive of that condition and see if I feel different. So for me personally, I have never had the MTHFR testing, but based on my symptoms, my body, and the experimenting that I've done with different supplements and lifestyle factors, I suspect that I do have this gene mutation. So I avoid foods that are fortified or that make it harder for my body to absorb the folate. I avoid artificial folates, and I take a methylated supplement. I have low energy when I don't take my methylated supplement. I notice a difference. So while the diagnosis would likely be there, do I need the diagnosis? Do I need the testing in order to have a confirmation of continuing to take this supplement? For me, no. However, if you have unexplained health issues and previous tests have been quote unquote normal or inconclusive, it may be helpful, especially in the case of recurrent miscarriages. And at first, these seem unrelated. So much of fertility and miscarriage testing focuses on other factors like hormones and blood sugar regulation. If you haven't listened to the Life Giving Life episode that I did with Nicole, you need to go listen to that. It is such an incredible interview that I had with her. I highly recommend checking that out if you are someone who struggles with infertility or miscarriages. But these are the things that we are talking about, is that in order to be a whole human being, in order to bring life into the world, you need to be whole yourself. So testing, in this instance, testing for the MTHFR gene mutation could be helpful to get your focus off of hormone testing and blood sugar regulation. It's helping to build the foundation of a whole human being before your body needs to support life. So let's talk about some daily habits that can support methylation. If you suspect that you have this gene mutation and you want to do some of your own testing and experimenting, here's where you can start with your habits. Number 1, prioritize real folate over synthetic folic acid. So you're going to want to avoid foods that are fortified with folic acid. That is things like cereal, white flour products, and you're going to want to choose whole foods instead. Leafy green vegetables, legumes, organ meats, grass-fed red meat. These are excellent sources of folate. Number 2, find the right supplement for you. You are going to want a methylated B vitamin supplement. These include things like methylfolate, which is B9, methylcobalamin, B12, which is not the same as cyanocobalamin, riboflavin, which is B2. Also consider taking a magnesium, and we'll talk a little bit later about magnesium specifics. Also, choline, you can get those from eggs, liver. They can also help with methylation as well. Number 3, balance homocysteine. This includes eating foods rich in B6, B12, folate, betaine. Think foods like quinoa, spinach, beets. These help recycle homocysteine into methionine, and it helps your cardiovascular system. Number 4, support your liver and detox pathways. We detox in 3 ways: through our breath, through our stool, and through our sweat. If you are sweating every day, if you have bowel movements every day, and if you are focusing on taking deep cleansing breaths every day, chances are your detox pathways are open. However, if any of those are sluggish, you want to Follow these recommendations more closely. Stay hydrated. Lemon water in the morning can also be really helpful. Herbal teas. Eating cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, that's really going to keep your digestive system moving. It's going to add that fiber in there to keep your bowel movement detox pathway open. Sweating regularly, whether through exercise or sauna or both, and limiting alcohol and reducing toxic exposure. Avoid drinking from plastic water bottles. Choose organic foods as often as possible. Throw away your synthetic perfumes, your Scentsy, your wallflower, your whatever scented fragrance, whether it's candles or spray or body lotion, those all add to your toxic load. Number 5, manage stress and sleep. The stress hormone uses up methyl groups, making mutations more difficult. So work to prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep and work to lower your stress practices. I've talked a lot about this on previous episodes, and there are a couple of different ways that I use. One is through processing to change how my brain perceives and responds to stress. This is a service that I do offer. It has helped change my perspective on what is stressful, what is worth stressing out over, and what is not. What can I let go? What is actually my responsibility and what is no longer my responsibility? In the moment, you can use walking, yoga, meditation, breath work, journaling it out, tapping. There's lots of tools that you can use in the moment, but also changing the way that your mind, your body perceives and responds to stress has been such a game changer for me. I can't speak highly enough of it. Number 6, exercise smart. So it is going to be better for you to do a little bit every day rather than one heavy workout once a week. So moderate, regular movement supports circulation. It supports detox. It's not only good for blood sugar regulation, it also helps with neurotransmitter balance. So it can help kind of clear out some of that brain fog. When you're fatigued, I know that this can be really difficult to want to exercise, but even if you can just find ways to move your body, maybe it's using small hand weights while you're watching TV, or maybe it's going for a walk or doing yoga, gentle stretching. These things are going to help bring more energy into your body, and it can help with that fatigue that you may be feeling. And on the other hand, overtraining raises oxidative stress, meaning it's going to be harder on your body overall, especially if you are dealing with the brain fog or fatigue. Your body cannot heal too many systems at one time. It will prioritize. So if you're over exercising or overstraining or lifting too heavy, it is going to be more detrimental to other parts of your mind and your body while your body is working to heal the muscles that were overtrained. Number 7, reduce environmental load. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, but the more natural cleaning products that we can use, the personal care products when possible, is going to help decrease that load. Drinking filtered water, and not from a bottle, do from glass or stainless steel. Limit processed foods with additives and preservatives. Our body doesn't know what to do with those things. It doesn't recognize it. So it holds on to it. It has a harder time detoxing it. It is a greater load on our bodies. So let's talk specifics a little bit more when it comes to supplements. Methylated B vitamins are ones that I talked about, methylfolate and methylcobalamin. I do have a couple of suggestions in the show notes, links to ones that I have used personally. And I will say every approach to health, every supplement is going to work different for different people. So even though I may recommend something, it may not be a great fit for you. I am going to give you some options that you can check it out to see what you've tried before, what's in your budget, how soon can you get it? Is it something you even want to try? So check out the show notes for links specifically for the methylated B vitamins that I recommend and have had good success with personally and with my clients. Now let's talk magnesium. Magnesium glycinate is a general or overall broad spectrum good magnesium. Magnesium malate helps with energy production, which is something that if you're having a lot of the brain fog and a lot of the fatigue, this one may help to take in the morning to kind of get that energy production started for the day. If you are having fewer than one bowel movement a day, I would recommend magnesium citrate. Remember, bowel movements are one of our detox pathways. Ideally, you should be having a bowel movement every time you eat. So you should be having 3 bowel movements a day, but for many of us, that is not the case. So starting with magnesium citrate at night can be a great way to help support that detox pathway. Now, because the MTHFR mutation makes it hard to convert folic acid into active forms of folate, you want to be sure to avoid labels that say folic acid. So whether this is in supplement form or whether this is in foods that you're eating, avoid labels that say folic acid in the ingredient list. Look for ones that say methylfolate, folate, or folacin instead. And I don't want to focus too much on things that we should be cutting out and instead focus more on things that we need to be eating more of. But I do want to point out that highly processed foods are often fortified with that fake folic acid. Packaged snacks, fast foods, refined carbs, they contain that synthetic folic acid, but they also add oxidative stress and inflammation to your body, and this makes methylation less efficient. Alcohol depletes folate and B12 and other methylation cofactors. Even moderate drinking can impair folate metabolism. Conventionally processed meats like bacon, hot dogs, deli meats with nitrates, these foods that are high in preservatives, they increase your homocysteine and your oxidative stress, meaning that the folate, the methylfolate, is having to work harder to combat the stress of foods that you're taking into your system. So instead of focusing on these foods that we need to cut, here's some foods that we can prioritize. Leafy greens are rich in natural folate, especially spinach, romaine lettuce, kale, arugula, and Swiss chard. Legumes, black beans, lentils, chickpeas, black-eyed peas. Avocados, eggs, especially the yolk because they're a source of that choline, which helps support the methylation process. Grass-fed meat, wild-caught fish. This includes organ meats. Organ meats are a very rich source of B12s and quality protein. Organ meats are not something that I have learned to cook well. And it's not something that is common in our society to be eating the organ meats. So there is another supplement that I suggest down in the show notes if that is something that you want to start taking for yourself. Cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts and broccoli and nuts and seeds are rich in B vitamins and in minerals. So sunflower seeds, flax, chia, almonds, these are things that you can chop up and add to salads, add to smoothies, add it in your oatmeal or in your pancakes. These are little things that you can just do to boost the nutritional content of foods that you're eating. So here's the good news. Lifestyle often matters more than genetics. So even if you do have the MTHFR gene mutation, whether you've been tested or not, these are some of the habits that will lessen the negative side effects of the MTHFR variants. These are things that can help reduce the fatigue and the brain fog and the headaches. Just as we've talked about through this episode a lot today, I just want to reiterate things that you can do to help. Eat folate-rich foods like leafy greens, grass-fed beef, organ meats. Avoid synthetic folic acid found in fortified cereals and processed white flour. Use active B vitamins like methylfolate, methylcobalamin, the magnesium, choline. Support your detox pathways. Make sure you're getting enough fiber, that you're hydrated, that you're exercising, and that you're reducing your alcohol and your toxins. Manage stress and sleep. Both drain your methylation capacity. When you're high in stress and low in sleep, methylation is going to be a lot harder. And balance your homocysteine with foods rich in B vitamins, betaine, and choline. Think of it more as building a foundation of your nutrition, movement, stress care, and reducing your toxic load. If you have found today's episode helpful, please share it with someone who might be struggling with some of the things we've talked about, with fatigue, brain fog, unexplained health issues, and even potentially people dealing with infertility or miscarriages. And remember, health isn't about chasing trends. It's about building roots that last, getting to the root cause of why we are feeling unwell instead of treating it with a Band-Aid solution. I am here for you in whatever capacity I can to help you with that. Like I talked about through this episode, I offer epigenetic hair scans that can show indicating factors for a lot of these things and give you next steps. I work with you one-on-one. We work together to make a protocol because I firmly believe that if you are the one putting in the work and doing the steps, you have to have that buy-in. It's not going to do me any good to say, okay, here's your report, and these are the things that you have to do in order to get feeling better. But if you feel like those things don't matter or too overwhelming or impractical, you're not going to have follow through. So with the epigenetic hair scans, we come up with a protocol together. And emotionally, we have to be well also, which is why I have incorporated more of the emotional processing side to help change the way your body perceives and responds to stress. These two elements have helped me and helped many others find true health and wellness. And I know that there are so many more aspects of health and wellness besides physical and emotional, but it is so important that we put all the pieces together so that we can be whole and that we can be emotionally and physically and mentally well. We need it in our world today. We need these tools that help us to feel grounded and balanced and belonging and significance. Thank you for being here today. I'm rooting for you and I love you, and I will see you next week.